Hey y'all. Okay, in the movie Leave the World Behind, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen, you've heard a lot of people talking about it, what's going on, a lot of information that's in it, a lot of stuff that's sticking out that we're aware of. And, there are some points in here that points towards slavery when it first started. Okay, so on my screen, I have this. This is at a museum titled "The 1619 Arrival." It's in, I believe, Hampton, Virginia. Well, I guess it's in Hampton, Virginia. But anyways, the paragraph says, in late August 1619, 20 to 30 enslaved Africans landed at Point Comfort, today's Fort Monroe in Hampton, Virginia, aboard the English privateer ship White Lion. In Virginia, these Africans were traded in exchange for supplies. Several days later, a second ship named Treasurer arrived in Virginia with additional enslaved Africans. Now, in the movie Leave the World Behind, there is when the family is traveling to their Airbnb, there's a sign that points toward the directions to go towards Point Comfort. Point Comfort. That's one thing that's in there about slavery. And then the next one was there was this huge ship that crash landed on the beach, and the title, the name of it is White Lion. Now, White Lion is the name of the ship that brought the first slave, that brought 20 to 30 slaves here in 1619. And also, the people that the ship White Lion, they stole 20 to 30 slaves off from another ship. So these slaves were stolen twice. Okay, so then so what's the next thing? Oh, a privateer ship. That is A privateer ship is an armed ship owned and officered by private individuals holding a government commission and authorized for use in war, especially in the capture of enemy merchant shipping. Now, I've heard a few people say that the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, was actually war on those people, on the Israelites, on the Hebrew Israelites. So I wanted to point that out because when I was first looking at it, the first thing that stuck out to me was when the man was looking at his GPS and 1619 was on his screen, and I was like, that's when slavery started. But the White Lion, the Point Comfort, I really didn't know that that had anything to do with the slave ship name or where they first started. Either I forgot or either I ain't paid attention to it or something like that. Either I didn't know that until somebody else pointed it out. But 1619 stuck with me. So I'm going to show you some more stuff. Also, in the movie Leave the World Behind, me it looks like this is what's going to be going on during, after, whatever the second Exodus. Not after, but during the second Exodus. Like, because of there have been people that have shared their dreams, shared their revelations, and even in the Bible, it says that there's going to be something going on when the regathering of Israel happens. Okay, this is in Jeremiah chapter 30, and I'm going to start with verse 3. It says, "For lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. And these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. But but they shall serve the Lord their God and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. There's gonna be something going on in Second Exodus, and this movie here has all this stuff pointing towards it. I believe it. This map was also in the movie Leave the World Behind, and as you know, as you can see, it's the United States of America, and it says a cyber attack across the country. And you know, our president has said something about blackout. We've heard people say stuff about dark winter, people trying to attack the grid, and all this other kind of stuff. So I'm going to share another clip on here that I seen. I think it was this week. Either way, it was China. It says something about China trying to hack into the infrastructure or something like that. Either way, I'm going to share it next.
Post reveals hackers affiliated with China's People's Liberation Army have infiltrated critical services here in the U.S.
Alexandra Hoff joins us now from our nation's capital. Alex, this is not good.
No, it's not. I mean, this infiltration appears to be part of a broader effort to insert chaos into our logistical systems. The information collected could then be weaponized if the U.S. and China were to become engaged directly in the Pacific. According to reporting from the Washington Post citing multiple U.S. and industry security officials, China's cyber army is invading critical U.S. services, like an attempt to break into the system behind Texas's independent power grid. Other victims include a water utility in Hawaii, a West Coast port, and at least one oil and gas pipeline, according to that report you're seeing there. Brendan Wells, executive director of the Department of Homeland Security Cybersecurity Agency, told the Washington Post this, quote, "It is very clear that Chinese attempts to compromise critical infrastructure are in part to pre-position themselves to be able to disrupt or destroy that critical infrastructure in the event of a conflict, to either prevent the United States from being able to project power into Asia or to cause societal chaos inside the United States to affect our decision-making around a crisis."
U.S. President Joe Biden on Tuesday warned a, quote, real shooting war may result from cyber attacks, and he pointed to Russia as a growing threat.
But I think it's more likely we're going to end up, if we end up in a war, a real shooting war with a major power, it's going to be as a consequence of a cyber breach of great consequence. And it's increasing exponentially, the capabilities.
Cybersecurity has risen to the top of the Biden administration's agenda after a series of high-profile attacks on companies like SolarWinds, Colonial Pipeline, and Kaseya. Some of the hacks affected fuel and food supplies in parts of the U.S. During a June bilateral summit between the U.S. and Russia, Biden shared a list of off-limits critical infrastructure with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Since then, the White House says the two countries have been in constant contact about cyber attacks in the U.S. Biden also warned of the threat posed by China, saying President Xi Jinping was, quote, deadly earnest about becoming the most powerful military force in the world. Biden
three-step maneuver to overthrow a government that scared him more than anything. This starts with stage 1, isolation, the disabling of communication and transportation. This is why we see the satellites not working, no GPS, and various forms of transportation like these electric Teslas used to block off main arteries into and out of cities. Stage 2 is synchronized chaos. You want to throw as much misinformation as possible, like those flyers, to scare and divide the people, eventually leading to step 3, an eventual coup. Whether this happens by civil war or other means, it results in the collapse of the government. You can actually overthrow a government without having to send in troops. It'll overthrow itself.
Death to America. I mean, I don't know what the rest of this means, but this part, it definitely means death to America. I remember from a game I was playing.
This movie right here is called Civil War, and it comes out spring 2024.
19 states have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
I guess aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America.
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
You need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. Blooded.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
Move, move, move!
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.